Nation.
Well, yeah.
Okay, the show is yours, my friends.
Okay. All right, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters on this Thursday morning. I am Scott. That's Phyllis to my, I guess, left on your screen. Distinguished Toastmaster, past district director, all around wonderful gal, and I, your somewhat wonderful club growth director, I guess, at this point. Good morning, Phyllis. It's been a while. Happy New Year.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I am better. I had some things going on and had to deal with them, but I am back and happy to be back. So I thought what we would talk about today is a topic that is something that we're all dealing with. Every club in the district is dealing with, or at least most every club is, and that is retention, keeping members and such. And obviously, over the last year or so, the district has suffered a loss of membership. That's not news to anybody. It's also not unique to District 115. It is something that is somewhat, well, actually not somewhat, but very common, not only around Region 2, which is what we're part of. Region 2 is parts of California, Nevada, and over into southern Utah. So Region 2 has suffered a loss of membership, but it is throughout Toastmasters International. That said, we need to do whatever we can to get more members to renew. And I come from the view that if the member is getting what they expected to get when they sign their membership application, that obviously they are much more likely than not to renew their membership. But obviously some people are not. And so what I thought I would do is, Phyllis, you have been a member for quite a while. You have seen many things. You have probably dealt with this during your time as district director. Maybe not to this extent, but it's something that I think all district directors and all trios deal with at some point and to some extent. So what are your initial thoughts on the topic, and what did you experience during your year in this regard? And were there any things that your trio did to help retain members?
I think what you're saying is, and it's very true, this was not a big deal during my year as district director. I only had maybe one or two clubs, two that I can think of right offhand, and one that I could not bring around to renew during my reign. So it was not a problem. There were a lot more members. People did renew on a regular basis. But I think now what's happening is that people have gone astray during the last couple of years, and they're looking at, should I have been going there all the time? And I think that in-person meetings really inspires people to continue to go to a meeting, especially when they're upbeat. Now, this Saturday, I am going to be training presidents, and I'm going to tell them right up, when you walk in the door, you are on it, babe. Get that smile going, get that upbeat going. I don't care how you feel personally. When you walk in the room, it's your job as president to be sure that it is an upbeat meeting. that there are great things going on, that people receive awards. I don't care what the award is for, give them an award for something. People think, oh, well, we shouldn't vote because that's derogatory, but I believe in voting. So let's have a vote for who is the best table topics. It's a matter of people walking up, shaking your hand, showing off their certificate, getting their photo taken. It's upbeat, it's rewarding, and that's what keeps members coming back. The visitation before the meeting and visitation afterwards. It is surprising at my home club how few members actually leave when the meeting is over. Everybody's helping clean up the room, but they're all still standing around talking. It's generally those that are returning to work or, have appointments. But I would say that 90% or more of the people that are in that meeting stick around and talk. I can't say enough about in-person meetings for retention. I think when people are enjoying one another, that's what makes them return. They want to continue with that great happiness type attitude and learning. If you learn in times of enjoyment, those are words from our founder. And I believe it is very true. So, upbeat meetings in person. But no, I did not have the problems or didn't have the abilities to learn the skills that you are learning now about retention and building. So
you are bringing up something that I didn't really know how to verbalize for quite a while. And it's just there now because you brought it up, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's something that I have seen missing. And that is the whole idea of recognizing people at meetings. Best table topics, best speaker. Now,
improved is always a great one.
Yeah, exactly. And voting on the secret ballot, and there's some degree of drama about it. Good drama. Good drama. Here's the thing that I have learned about recognition from having taken more management courses than I care to admit to. And that is, people will actually work harder for recognition than they will for money. They will. Yeah. They will work harder to get their name on a plaque or to have their name mentioned publicly for doing something than they will if you just gave them a 5% raise. And I think it goes back to we serve a function, or at least we could be serving a function and should be, that members are not getting elsewhere. They're not getting it from their employer necessarily. They're not getting it from some other outlet. And that is, great job. Come on up and get your ribbon.
Appreciation.
Yeah. And and I think in their own heads, they are thinking to themselves, my word, I haven't gotten a ribbon or an award for anything before. And all I had to do to get this was pay X amount of money. And I'm learning to give better speeches, and I'm learning to give better evaluations, and I'm meeting people, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and all the way up to and including, my goodness, I'm going to be competing now. But most people who enter a speech contest, they are relatively new to our organization, and it wouldn't never have been in their wheelhouse to even consider. A lot of times they get voluntold, as we like to say. hey, we need a speaker for the international speech. You've got enough speeches in. How about you think about this? And they're like, what? Huh? Me? International speech contest? What? Really? And they hadn't
They
thought
don't
about it.
volunteer on their own.
Oh no, no. In fact, uh, having been part of more of those than I care to admit to as well, during interviews of contestants, they and I if I were the Toastmaster for the or the contest master, I would ask, why did you decide to compete? Probably half the time, I really didn't decide on my own. I was encouraged to. And I said yes. And here I am at the area level or at the division level, much to their own surprise sometimes. And I think that instills more confidence. And look at, I mean, my gosh, look what I in quotes, not I myself, but I in quotes have been able to do since joining Toastmasters. I don't think we do nearly as good a job as we could of recognition. And I think that all of the clubs in our district would be wise to think about going back to a best speaker, best table topics type of award. I think they still have the ribbons for that. I might be dating myself a bit, but I think they still do. And you would be surprised at how, even if they don't state it publicly, how in their minds things change when that when they win a ribbon for having done something, and they're getting recognition from their fellow club members. I think it fills a gap that is there, and that we could work on filling, that we could work on taking care of. So I really appreciate you, Phyllis, bringing that up, because it's something I've noticed, and it's something that we need to look into, to look at.
And it's so easy to
Oh
print
yeah,
a certificate
yeah,
on your computer and email it to the winner if they happen to be on Zoom.
mhm,
You don't have to be in person to get an award.
yeah.
You can do it. It's a matter of taking the time and making it happen.
I will give you an example from a previous employer of mine, and that is Intuit, the TurboTax folks. They made a habit for a very, very long time, and I'm sure they probably still do, of offering gift cards to employees, especially work from home during tax season, for working extra hours on a weekend or whatever the case may be. The gift card, that if they qualified for the gift card, the email came from senior management with their first name in there, and it was signed by a member of senior management, and a list of people who had won this particular contest was emailed out. And I was chatting with some former colleagues about this, and they said that many of them agreed to work those extra hours because there was a carrot dangled, no doubt about it, but because they were going to be thanked and publicly recognized by a member of senior management. The gift card was important. The recognition was even more important.
That's true. And it's like there's nothing like a pat on the back and telling people how much they have improved or how much you enjoyed their speech. It's like on our ballot, we have all these extra little tags that you can write notes on. And Guy Dawson has got to be the best. He will sign something to everybody that spoke. And I have like a glass jar. Okay. And I put all of my little notes in there. And if the day's not going well, I pick out a few of them and look at what people thought. They thought I was great. I did a wonderful job. And it helps spruce up your day personally, even at home. So it does a wonder at a club.
I know more than a couple of members from my old district in New York who actually, while they were working towards their, back then it was called competent communicator, 10 speeches, they would actually save all of their evaluations and the little tags that I think you're talking about,
Mhm.
and they would put them into a it was like a photo album, for lack of a better term. And because they wanted to look back from speech 1 up through
Mhm.
speech 10, which back then was what competent communicator was, and see the difference in the comments between their icebreaker and speech number 10.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so in speech number 1, you look down at the floor, you had 97.5 ums, you had this, you had that, which nobody would be surprised at any of that stuff on speech 1. It's tough enough for a member to even do the icebreaker, let alone, be as polished as they're going to be by speech 10. And then look at speech 10, and instead of, everybody putting down something to improve upon, it's great job with eye contact, great job with staying within time, great job with this, great job with that. And I had a couple of members come up to me and say, my goodness, I had no idea that I had gotten this much better. Because they had done it 10 times, they didn't realize it within themselves, that they were now speaking directly to the audience, maybe, or they were staying within time, or they went from 97 ums to 5 ums, and things like that. So I think we really need to get into the mind of the member, so to speak, of course, and remember what it was like for us to be members, and I don't want to minimize this, to be members of Toastmasters, because we can get so caught up in, if we're an area director, division director, part of the trio, past division director, past district director, all the things that we've done that have, the alphabet soup after our name, and just remember what it was like to simply go to a meeting once every 2 weeks, and the environment and why we were there. We could spend that hour doing any number of things. Why were we going to Toastmasters? And I think if we can hone in on that and look at it from a member's perspective, put the member hat on for a time, I think we're going to uncover some things that we could be doing. Recognition, I think, Phyllis, is, if it's not number 1, it's definitely high on the list. So anything else that comes to mind from your time as district director, or any of your
I
leadership
think you're
positions?
right. As a new member,
Mhm.
you're petrified, nervous.
Yeah.
Let's say my first meeting, I had to hold on to the table, and I shook so bad that the person next to me grabbed it because it was kind of jiggling out to the center of the room. So yes, we are petrified, but we are uplifted and happy. And you're right, those people that come up to you after the meeting and say, oh, you did this really well, or I really appreciate that, or I never heard that story before, and I enjoyed your references. All of those things give you a great feeling for the day. And that's what Toastmasters is about, is that you're learning to do references and you're having a good time at it. Very supportive. I was always so surprised at how supportive each member is. I have been to contests where the contestants are helping one another do a better job, or what they heard, or what they felt, and how they might improve. So it's like, it's not just in the club, it goes all the way through. My first contest, like you say, somebody said, oh, give that little speech. It's really good. You won't win, but it's a good one, and you might as well do it. Well, of course I won. And then I was so petrified when I got to the area, and so new, it was only my third speech, I had no idea how to continue on.
Mm.
And it's one of the things that you're thoroughly embarrassed because you've lost your place. You don't know what to say. You finally finish the speech and you would walk out and never do it again because you've embarrassed yourself in front of all these people. But then your club members come up and say, you did good. You did good. It's okay. You'll do better next time. Not a problem. And they're so supportive that you continue on. You don't let a panicked, non-speech throw you off and leave the group because of the support that you get from your other members. So
You know,
I would always recommend Toastmasters.
sure. Something else that comes to mind when we're talking about retention is we have clubs that do have a large member base
Right.
and that continue to have a large member base. Why not put together some sort of best practices document? Why do you think people are continuing to renew at your club? Why do you think you consistently get all your roles filled for every meeting? Why do you think this? Why do you think that? And let them brag. Well, we do this, we do that, we do this other thing. And I think if we can compile that, and I'm going to bring this up to the trio when we meet next time, we might be surprised at something that comes up that we would have never thought of. But there is definitely a reason why the retention is not nearly as high as we would like. And from my perspective, yes, we had to deal with COVID, and thankfully we adjusted and we did what we had to do. Thankfully we're on the other side of that, or at least it appears we are. So, okay, where do we go from here? And I think some sort of a best practices document that allows clubs with consistently high membership, consistently filling roles without having to call on people right at the meeting to do something would help the clubs that are struggling with members or membership or are struggling with roles. The two go hand in hand, of course. So I'll bring that up to the trio next time we meet. But we're coming to the bottom of the hour, Phyllis. Anything else you want to add to this before we do some announcements?
No, well, I would say that in my home club, we weren't a club on October the 1st because we did not have 8 members. And it just seemed like all of a sudden there was a turnaround and we started getting members and got the members that wanted to do more and work at getting the advertisement out and doing more and more. And I think that's part of being in person, but it's like, it's a turnaround. And, and I think we're up to 11 members now. So we're going into it. So I would say to each and every club, keep working at growing your membership because it will happen. You are a great club. You are still a great club, and you will continue to be a great club with more members.
So we have training coming up Saturday.
Yes.
At the Las Vegas Library on Bonanza. You are teaching, I am teaching the treasurer role. So if you have not gotten trained yet, you as in everybody listening, that is, join us on Saturday morning. The flyer has gone out, I think, repeatedly, but it's the Las Vegas Library on Bonanza. And it's in person, and we will feed you. So there you go. We will feed you. Yes, we're going to have
food and they will come.
Have food and they will come. Ken Richardson and others are providing some sandwiches and some chips and stuff. So come on out if you haven't gotten trained yet, and it'll make you a better officer. Probably already pretty good, but it'll make you even better. and you'll take stuff back to the club that will be very, very helpful. So other than that, fellas, you have anything you want to announce?
Nope, that's it. Hopefully, we will give you some new ideas at this training. I believe in the training, and as I said, after 25 years of going twice a year, there are always a new outlook. There's always one or two items that you did not know about. So please, even though you've had this job many times, this role, please come out and see what kind of new ideas we can give you.
Yeah. And learn from each other. That's a big part of the training, is to learn from one another. What are you doing at your club? And in terms of your role, how's it going? Things like that. And if you're new, you're going to be a sponge and just take it all in. So it'll be a great morning and going into early afternoon. So looking forward to it. Okay, fellas. I think that will do it for another wonderful edition of Wake Up with Toastmasters. Thank you so much for being here. Wish everybody a great rest of your day, and we will see some of you, hopefully, who haven't been trained yet on Saturday. So take care, all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Cool.
Oh my. I want to tell you something. See if he gave you the button to turn off, because he didn't give it to me.
Okay. Oh, there we go.